I don't know if that's the proper technique, but it's the one that we're going with. Hello everyone, tonight we're gonna cook a sort of quick dinner. I think it'll be quick and somewhat hands-off. We are gonna make homemade gnocchi, and my husband is gone tonight, so it's a perfect night to recipe test. If it's awful, I have plenty of other things to feed the kids and myself. So I'm gonna be using this product. There we go. It's the instant mashed potatoes from Azure Standard. Now, I originally got these because I was going to add them to hamburger buns because I'd heard that that was a good ingredient. I did a whole video where I tested several different hamburger bun recipes, and the one that had the potato flakes was not the winner. So I had these extra potato flakes. Recently, I was at my dad's and I had a lot of downtime. I was only there with one kid, and I was flipping through his cookbooks, and there was one cookbook, I will link it below. It's all about pasta. And one of the recipes in there was for gnocchi, and it was using instant mashed potatoes. And I thought that just sounded so cool, because the part of making gnocchi that I really just don't like is the boiling and then the ricing the potatoes. My potato ricer is awful, and it's just such a chore. I don't know if it's because it's instant or what, but this product does have mono and diglycerides of vegetable origin, it says. I looked up what those are because as a general rule, we try not to buy things that have extra stuff in them like that. And I looked these up, and yeah, they're not great for you. They are basically likely to contain a form of trans fat, and it's sort of like allowable in the loophole for the legislation that's currently being pushed against trans fat. That being said, it's not like we're gonna eat this as mashed potatoes every night as a side with dinner, you know? This is going to be, if this works, I would like to just have this as an ingredient in our gnocchi that we eat maybe once a month. So that's kind of how I weigh the risk for that. Now, the recipe is extremely easy, and I feel like I can share it with you all because it's really just ratios. It's 1 part potato flakes to 1 part flour to 1 part water. So I'm gonna add this flour. Oh no, I wasn't supposed to do that. Okay, that's all right, we're gonna remedy this. Basically, we just have to turn this into the mashed potatoes first really quick, and then we can add everything else. So we are actually going to add the water to the mashed potato flakes. Now, I've never made this before, so we'll see if it turns out, and I guess it doesn't help that I'm sort of messing it up a little bit here, but that's okay. Wow, it really does turn into mashed potatoes. That's so crazy. I have never made instant mashed potatoes before. And then it just wants it to cool just a little bit until you can handle it, basically, and then you add the flour and the egg. But anyway, what I was saying about the ratios, basically if you're using 1 cup of everything, you add a ½ teaspoon and 1 egg. So like if you're working with 1 cup measures, that's your ratios. If you're making 2 cups, you need 2 eggs, full teaspoon of salt, that sort of thing. I hope that makes sense. I like this because I like recipes that are easy to remember, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, I'm gonna let this cool and then we'll make this. This cooled really fast actually, so I did already add the salt because I needed my ½ teaspoon to mix up my kids' vitamins this afternoon, so I did the salt first and then did that while I was waiting for this to cool. All right, now I'm gonna add in the flour. So that was 1 cup. And here's that 2nd cup. I am going to add my egg now. I'm gonna work this together and see if I can get it into a nice dough. It seems a little wet. I'm thinking I might have to add a little more flour. But one mistake I have definitely made in the past with gnocchi is adding too much flour, and then you end up with a really dense noodle. But I do think it's too sticky. I don't know if you guys can tell from the camera. So let's just do a little more flour. All right, I'm gonna switch to working this with my hand just a little bit, because ultimately I will have to just roll this out. probably added, I don't know, close to a 1/4 cup. And I think it's getting there. Yeah, I think this is workable. It would probably be a little sticky if I kept going. But I think this is a decent dough and I can get a bench scraper and chop this up. Cool. All right, I'm gonna flour this. The dough is supposed to be chopped into 4 separate chunks, and then each chunk is supposed to be sliced into 18 pieces, and then those get rolled into little gnocchis. All right, here goes. I'll set these guys aside. Let's start with this one. So my goal with this gnocchi is I would like to find a good recipe and then make enough that I can put several batches away in the freezer, and then we can use it just as conveniently as a store-bought gnocchi. And this recipe did say that you can freeze it. It said to cook it first and then basically let it cool and put it on a parchment lined sheet, and then it all goes in the freezer and par freezes, and then you can put it in a Ziploc bag. It said it'll keep for a month in the freezer, but I push things way further than that, so. Okay, so my strategy there, I just cut it in half, and then I cut each half into 3 sections, and then each of those into 3, and that made 18 really easily. This is the part I don't really remember how to do. My dad used to do this a lot when I was a kid. You're supposed to just roll it with a fork. I don't know, I don't feel like I do it right though. Yeah, it's getting really sticky when I do that. Maybe I need water. That works a lot better. You just dip it in a little bit of water and then you can just press it on. And then you get the grooves and you don't have to worry about rolling it or pushing so hard. I don't know if that's the proper technique, but it's the one that we're going with. All right, I'm gonna do the rest of these and then we will cook them. Here are my finished gnocchis. And I also have the 4th one that's just kind of on the counter because I ran out of room. I'm gonna cook those ones first, I think. I'm gonna get this water salted. Make sure that the boil is truly a rolling boil. All right, I'm just gonna go for it. Oh boy, that fell right to the bottom and sunk. Let's see if they stick. I've always heard that you cook gnocchi until it floats, and these do feel light enough that that'll work. Last time I made gnocchi, it was so dense and they never floated. That's kind of your first sign that maybe you did something wrong. All right, it says 2 minutes, and yeah, it says they will float to the surface even before they are cooked through. Oh, interesting. Oh, and there goes one right now. Okay, well, I guess I should have set a timer, but I guess we're at about 1 minute. I'm gonna start taking them out, and it says to put them on a rack and don't let them touch and all this fancy stuff, but I'm not gonna bother with all that today. I'm just gonna put them straight into bowls, and I'm gonna put butter over these for the kids. And then the one I make for myself, I'm gonna put some pesto on it. I have some in the fridge. Pesto over fresh gnocchi was something I had a lot as a kid, but we had a ton of basil that grew in the garden, so it was basically free. When you don't grow basil, that's a really fancy meal. I don't really get points for presentation. I am out of bowls, so I had to mix mine up on a plate. But here is my pesto version with Parmesan on top. And then the kids, I just mix it with melted butter and put Parmesan on top. Looks yummy. Thanks so much for cooking dinner with me. This really was so easy. Whoa, careful there, kiddo. I'll put the like the ratios for the recipe in the box below, because that's really all it is ratios. And then you just cook it until it floats in boiling water. So thank you all for joining me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.